pride to see so many curious minds today in the audience, and many more joining via the broadcasting session. Unfortunately, the amount of tickets were limited. As even as a 3D, VR, XR solutions provider company, we pay attention to the recent trends, but also we put a huge effort into initiating and organizing social projects that are meant for learning, creating awareness, and of course, education. So without any further ado, I would like to give a round of applause to our speakers and call to stage the one and only, the most inspiring and a brilliant mind who really, really gave me goosebumps when we talked about the metaverse, the past, the future, and the present. Please give a round of applause with clicking on the button C or key on your keyboard C, or use your hands in VR headset to Rolvin, go! Yay!
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Eve. That was fantastic. Let me adjust myself. Good day, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm going to share my screen, Eve, and that. Well, thank you so much, everyone. It's an honor to be here. And first and foremost, let's give a round of applause to Eve and the Eveners team for putting together this amazing series. It's really spectacular. The venue is amazing, and the lineup is just fantastic on this International Creativity and Innovation Day. So I'm just super excited to be here. So again, Eve, thank you and your team for putting this together. It's fantastic. Without further ado, I'll dive in. Eve, is the screen ready to go? I can't see it. All right, can everyone see that?
You can also click on the screen to enlarge it, dear audience.
All right. What I want to do is take you guys back in time. This right here is my representation of my college philosophy professor. You know, when I was in college, he had wild hair, big glasses, a little disheveled, and sometimes he would come to class about 15 minutes late. But for some reason, the class, we stayed there because we knew when he joined us that he was going to have a phenomenal class. We were going to have a phenomenal class. He's one of the most fascinating professors that we had. And I remember he gave us a short past story to read during that time, and it really stuck with me, especially with what we're going through today. I want to read that to you guys really quickly. And it said, "But listen, a movie that gives one sight and sound. Suppose now I add taste, smell, and even touch. If your interest is taken by the story, suppose I make it so that you are in the story. You speak to the shadows and the shadows reply. And instead of being on a screen, the story is all about you and you are in it. Would that be to make real a dream?" The other person says, "How the devil could you do that? How? But simply, first I apply my liquid positive, then my magic spectacles." That was a story, a passage taken from this book written in 1935 by the American science fiction author Stanley Gene Weinbaum. He presented a comprehensive and specific fictional model for virtual reality in his story, Pygmalion Spectacles. See, when we talk about the metaverse, we can't talk about the metaverse without talking about virtual reality. And so what I'm going to do here is give you a quick definition of what I think the metaverse is. I mean, you can talk to a number of different people, you'll get a different definition, but for the context of today, I say it's a combination of virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, the blockchain, underpinned by Web3, cryptocurrency, social media that offers the users a 3D immersive virtual experience to connect with other people. And in the metaverse, we consider people avatars or AI, places, spaces like the one that we're in today, and things. Everything in the metaverse is an NFT, right? So as you can see, by 1957, Morton Heilig invented the Sensorama machine, which is considered the earliest virtual reality system. It had 3D, smell, aroma, motion, color, sound, vibration. And so you see from the 1930s to the 1950s, again, as technology increased, we tried to create, that vision of that description of what virtual reality was, right? Trying to access that world that was spoken about in these books, and some of the philosophers have talked about it throughout time. how do we enter our dreams and how do we make that into a reality? And I think that's what society has been trying to chase all along. In the 1960s, we saw the first use of augmented reality by the military when they used AR headsets. It's amazing. We think about augmented reality, we think, wow, that's just today, or virtual reality. But as you can see, we've been working on this for decades, right? By 1978, MIT created the Aspen movie map. It enabled users to take a virtual tour through the city of Aspen, Colorado, using hypertext, which is a combination of graphics, audio, video, plain text, and hyperlinks to create a medium of information that is generally unlinear. So we're getting closer, right? In 1992, Neil Stephenson, and most of us have heard about this book now, Snow Crash, he released that novel where it referred to that 3D virtual world inhabited by avatars of real people. And that's what he was calling the metaverse. That's the first time we heard about this term, the metaverse. And if you haven't read the book, Snow Crash is set in the early 21st century, and it's really about a global economy that crashed. The federal government has lost most of their power to a few giant corporations. And the main character inside of the book is a broke computer hacker that accesses the metaverse by wearing goggles or spectacles with earphones and appears within the digital world as his own customized avatar. So now it's starting to all come together, right? We've been testing, we heard about it in Pygmalion spectacles, right? These goggles, and then we're starting to create these machines throughout time and test augmented reality in the military. And now, again, we're pulling it all together in Snow Crash and different books that we see throughout time. By 1998, the NFL had introduced the first commercial use of augmented reality in sports. And now we see it a lot today. You see the yellow lines right here. That's what we see on the screen when we're watching it. But in real life, that's not there. So again, augmented reality being that overlay of physical reality. I'm going to fast forward a little bit into the future, right? The race to the metaverse. This is really a summary of events that have taken place over the last decade. I mean, I jumped over a lot of things, but in the essence of time, we're going to start from 2010 when Palmer Luckey created the prototype of the Oculus. And that really reignited that interest in the space of the metaverse in this virtual world. Again, some of you have heard of Second Life, and that was also in the early 2000s. But again, this kind of reignited it with the Oculus. These headsets really made it real that you could put it on and actually be immersed inside of this space. Ready Player One was released in 2011. By 2014, Facebook acquired the Oculus VR for $2 billion from Palmer Luckey. And in 2014, I'm not sure how many people actually remember the AR goggles by Google, the Google Glass, that actually was an epic fail. I was actually going to buy a pair. I thought they were awesome, but society wasn't ready. And that's a lot of times what happens with technology. If it's too soon, society will reject it. By 2016, the HoloLens mixed reality goggles became available. And I'm not sure how many people remember the Pokemon Go augmented reality experience when people were just running wild all over the place, really trying to catch these Pokemon. People were running into police stations, walking off of cliffs. It was insane. At least these were the stories that they told. Right. And as you know, by 2021, Facebook recently changed their name to Meta to really focus on building a metaverse. And they are dedicated to hiring 10,000 people over the next few years to build this metaverse. And I actually just saw another article last night that Accenture is hiring 150,000 people to start building the metaverse and for their clients. So up to speed. Now, a few weeks ago, we saw a report that came out by Citibank that said that the metaverse is now projected to be a $13 trillion business opportunity by 2030. And so, as you can expect, a lot of organizations are looking into this, and there are a lot of trends and developments happening in the space. We saw what happened with NFTs over the last year. Huge boom there. Bored Apes, Beeple selling his piece for millions of dollars. Gaming, virtual real estate is really booming. Digital twins, organizations are building copies of their headquarters in the metaverse. Tourism and events like this beautiful space that we're in right now, museums and places to shop. Avatar fashion and retail, really creating skins for your avatar, and metahumans, metahumans, and that's a big one, and that could change the face of entertainment altogether. So like I said, entertainment, we see Snoop Dogg in the whole music industry. They're creating concerts, and Snoop is building his Snoop Dogg land on the Sandbox, and that's coming, I think, at the end of the year, creating a lot of hype around this. And this is a This is the metaverse. These are people with their avatars. They're having a good time partying at the pool. I mean, they had to buy certain costumes if they want to enjoy that. So that's coming soon. Tourism, like I said, this is a museum on Decentraland. People can actually walk around and, Eve has created an amazing museum. I think we have a link to that. You'll be able to experience it. Fantastic. I didn't want to, if you haven't seen it after this, make sure you go check it out at the end. It's a beautiful museum in the space. Fashion and retail. This is my avatar inside the Decentraland. I'm walking around. You see behind me, that's the Meta Fashion House behind me. And also an Acura car dealership actually created a space inside of Decentraland. So not only, can you buy things inside of the metaverse, but also, it links out to the real world. You can literally buy a car inside of the metaverse. I was actually considering buying something, but then my wife walked in the room. We hadn't talked about that. So I kind of closed out of it. Diplomatic embassy, Barbados country created the first diplomatic embassy on Decentraland. So what does that really mean? Again, this is really, showing a lot of interest in the metaverse, where a country created their embassy in this space because they really believe in it. So they took that step. I actually went around the United Nations, had a beautiful experience also. So again, people are moving into the metaverse, exploring and creating their footprint there. And what you see here is Epic Games' Unreal Engine. These are not real human beings. This is Unreal Engine. They're creating real life looking human avatars. And I initially had a film that they created, a short film from this. So I think actors probably need to watch out, because these things look so realistic that the future of entertainment is really going to change what they do with these avatars. But what does all this mean, right? What does the future of the metaverse hold for our society? Like one of my favorite Beyonce songs says, it could really be a sweet dream or a beautiful nightmare. And it really depends on what we do today. That's going to be really important. And so what I did here is lay out what my timeline of the future of the metaverse, and lay down 3 phases over the next 17 years. And I'm going to try to go through this really quickly, but I see phase one starting from right now. I mean, obviously this started before now, but as of today to 2025, I look to that to be, continue to have that innovative pioneers, and everyone here is a pioneer in this space. We're exploring, we're learning about it. We're the early adopters, right? And with that information of the metaverse being a $13 trillion or potentially even more opportunity, we're going to see a capitalization on the digital gold rush. Organizations are going to continue to move into the metaverse, creating a huge boom and raising the prices of the real estate inside of the metaverse. They're creating the digital twins, so they're going to create their headquarters in these spaces. I see an increased use of use cases for utilities for NFTs. We're moving away from just images that we see today, but creating more utility. What is the purpose? What can we do with that NFT? What comes along with it? What are the benefits? How are we using it for intellectual property? Right now, we see limited safety and cybersecurity guidelines. We're going to start to see increased introduction of regulations. We're hearing a lot about harassment and things that are happening inside of the metaverse. What do we need to do to make sure that we set those right guidelines? And I talked to you about what's happening with Barbados. Countries are putting spaces in there, but what does that mean if that's an embassy? Is it really in Barbados? Or is it on a server across 3 different countries? So what does it really mean? So we need to really look at regulations, cognitive diversity of thought. A lot of influencers and we're all ideating and developers thinking about it. And I think that's going to continue to be welcome in the early phases. Environments are currently centralized, meaning they're not interoperable. You can't necessarily jump from the sandbox into Facebook Horizons, right? So I think that's going to continue to be centralized, or organizations are going to want to monetize on that before having their people leave into other environments. And I think the new rich, right? A lot of us are new, or a lot of new entrepreneurs are coming into the space, creating startups. The creator economy is booming. So we're going to see a lot of new billionaires, I think, coming out of this space as people start to adopt it, and a lot of new ideas come into the space. Phase 2, I think, is going to be the majority adoption, not full, but again, digital twins become mainstream. Now organizations really want you to start working. Really, I think most of the organizations are going to be in the metaverse, shifting their employees into that space. Higher education in schools. We saw what happened during the pandemic with remote work and Zoom fatigue. So I think the metaverse might be an alternative. Augmented reality and AI is going to be in there, replacing some jobs. Smart contracts are being created, taking out the middleman, because smart contracts make things a lot easier. And I think there's some hotels right now that also are eliminating some roles because of smart contracts that they have in place. I think the price of the headsets are going to need to decrease, and they will if we want the majority adoption. Right now, I think Facebook is at a Meta at a good price point, but I think it's going to go down to get to that nice sweet spot. iPhone is talking about replacing their iPhone with some type of new AR headset. So I think we're gonna shift away from traditional iPhones, and they're gonna have it embedded into some type of glasses, right? And where you can use AR, VR, and also use your phone. The metahumans are going to again, I think we're gonna break some records with new films that come out, right, in the metaverse using only metahumans, and new careers are popping up. Esports is already the foundation, I think, of the metaverse. Play to earn opportunities like Axie Infinity. The younger generation, I think the rise of the alpha generation, these are the digital natives, right, that are born into this metaverse and on screen. They're really going to, take off by within the next 10 years. And the final phase I'm looking at, and it's really the mass adoption, but I'm calling this rise of the meta gods. Really, we talked about a new pandemic that could potentially happen by 2030. And I think that's what's really going to push the rest of the masses into the metaverse. We'll almost be forced, right? I think we'll have a fully functional AR, VR contact lenses that are going to be embedded into eyes, the same way we saw like in Minority Report with Tom Cruise. Some of the worlds that are being created right now in terms of spaces, it's, the goal is for it to be decentralized. Everyone is able to create their own space inside of the metaverse. But what happens when most people don't populate that world, right? So right now, the early adopters are creating spaces. By I think the end of the decade, we're going to see the main metaverses or the main spaces that are fully adopted by most people, and they'll probably be run by the larger companies. So, and I think we're going to have one main official cryptocurrency. Right now, there are many, obviously, for each environment, but I think there's going to be one main. I mean, we have Bitcoin, but I think it creates a large carbon footprint. But they're going to be doing a lot more there to push that forward. I think we'll be at 70% interoperability, where people be able to move around from the different worlds. Like I said, they're going to be the main ones, and the ones that are not connected, they probably won't be used. And finally, I think there's going to be a metaverse social credit score introduced with real world consequences. So if anyone knows about the social credit score that we're seeing over in China, I think if we don't get the regulations together, and if the metaverse isn't safe, there's really going to be a lot of tracking that's going on, and it's going to be important for us to really right now pay attention as we're building this and make sure that it's really safe. And if it gets out of hand, that nightmare that I talked about, or if it's going to be a sweet dream, is really up to us, right? If we're building this collaboratively and we're thinking about the future, I think we can avoid that. But it's going to be important to see how this kind of transpires. So that's my piece. I went over a little bit, but again, my name is Rolvin Cope, founder and CEO of FutureWise, and this is our Metaversology podcast. If you are interested to learn more, check us out on iTunes, any place you listen to your podcast, or on YouTube. And thank you again, Eve, for the opportunity, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Rolvin. Everyone, let's hit that key button. See, send love, send applause. Thank you so much. All right, I see on stage also Bren and Alchin. Fantastic. Okay, everyone, please get closer to the stage. Elchin and Bran, I would ask you to move a bit back with the arrow keys, arrow key down. So we have a very nice group photo with everyone in there. I am kind of showing where the stage is. I hope you feel already comfortable with your avatars. I see some of you personalize your avatars by uploading the photos, making them very creative, having faces. Some of them are still in the process. The keys were announced in the lobby, but here I am to just explain how easy it is to organize events in Spatial. In Spatial, you have the functionality of moving your avatar via your arrow keys on the keyboard. Up, down, you move back and forth, and the side keys for rotation and for moving to the right, to the left. If you want to rotate the view, it's Q and E for PCs, and in case you're on MacBook, I think it's A and D keys on the keyboard. And you have also secret keys 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Try 1, 2, and let's leave 3, 4, 5 for the networking where you start dancing. C for clapping, sending love. And I think I'm sharing my camera. Great. And Y for, well, I love this one. Yeah, we love the event. So, okay. I hope you will not be trying. And we have Ramona helping with the broadcasting session. We're live. So smile and wave as much as you want. Now, I don't want to interrupt the flow because what Robin shared with us now is a great summary of what's going on. If you didn't kind of didn't give a thought to the whole process of society being transformed, of culture being shifted, of behaviors being also shifted, and the whole demand being created for tools like metaverse or virtual spaces where all of us can meet, greet one another, learn from one another, and share amazing, inspiring stories. The next speaker in line after Robin's inspiration, it is Shay Richburg. Shay, I'm calling you to stage. Please join me here. Who is not just a speaker, she's actually the moderator of the panel. She will introduce all other speakers to you and we'll open our discussion. So thank you so much, Shay, for being here, for dedicating your time. I will leave the introduction to you and let me go here. Please give a round of applause. C button. Here.
Okay, thank you so much, Eve. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I actually did not prepare to speak personally today. I am moderating today. I am so excited to hear from our panelists. But as Eve explained, my name is Shay Richburg. I am an entrepreneur. I am a metaverse speaker with a specialty of child safety and harassment in the metaverse. We are building a world, ladies and gentlemen, where we have the capability to bring oneness, to bring peace, to bring joy to everyone. And so I am on a huge, huge journey to try to make sure this virtual world is kept safe. I work with entrepreneurs as they are building worlds and establishing guidelines for them and to keep people's avatars safe. I'm not going to go into it too much, but I want you guys to understand why I'm fully immersed in the metaverse and why it's so important to me. And I really want so many people to learn about it because one day people may be forced to engage in the metaverse. And I don't want people to be forced in the metaverse. I want people to learn about it organically. I want people to be safe while they're in there, comfortable, and learn from one another. And so that's what really will create a flourishing metaverse. So I'm so excited. I don't want to throw us off time. Before I go forward, I would like to say thank you to Eve and Evenness Organization for allowing me to host this amazing event. I am also grateful for this opportunity. I love connecting with other trailblazers of the metaverse. Eve, you are definitely a trailblazer. I want to say thank you to Robin Koch for that memorable speech you just gave and that amazing car ride, as I like to call it, taking us on a journey from the 3 phases that you believe we will experience in the development of the metaverse. And you mentioned something that I want to focus on for a second. You talked about the pioneer phase. And I agree with you. I feel as though we are in the pioneer phase with a lot of innovators and creators. So as I talk to the panelists today, I see all 4 of them as amazing pioneers. And so I'm excited to speak with all 4 of them. And so without further ado, I would like to have each one of our panelists introduce yourselves by sharing your name, your location, and the name of your company. And let's start with Aisha, then Martin, then Debbie, and then you, Eve.
Thank you, Shay. Yes, my name is Aisha Sheikh, and I'm working at Magnopus, and I'm currently based in San Francisco.
Thank
Yes,
you.
my name is. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go on. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So my name is Martin Kasumurawi, working for Galaxy Technology, building a virtual world, and I'm located in Rotterdam, the Netherlands.
Thank you.
Please come to the stage so the participants would see you very well. Yes, Aisha and Martin, thank you.
Okay, I'm Debbie Bueta. I'm the Chief Partnership Officer of Women in AI. You can hear from my accent, I'm a South African, but I've lived in United Arab Emirates for 5 years now. I'm based in Abu Dhabi.
Thank you, Debbie.
And this is it. I already introduced myself, so just want to say super excited about this discussion. And I am calling in from the United States. Originally, I am based in, well, usually I'm based in Amsterdam. Because Eunice is growing, we're now present in the United States. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Hello to all the panelists. Hello to all those who have joined us today. Now, I just want to take a moment to reflect that we are in all different regions all over the world. But because of this virtual world, specifically spatial, we're actually all here as one today. I love it. And I really want to take note that don't worry if you're learning how to navigate your avatar, because I remember the first time I jumped into virtual world and I was soaring all over the space like an eagle. I couldn't control my body in there. So no worries. But I think it's phenomenal. And this is why we're all here. So we can really unite together, even though being located remotely all over the world. So that brings me to my first question. Panelists, can you please tell me about what you do within your company and how you're making an impact within the metaverse or extended reality realm? And let's start with Aisha and go down the line in the same order as we did before. Thank you.
Thank you again. Yes, so I have, so one, I wanted to be able to include and speak a little bit also on metaverse and Web 3.0 because it's this more encompassing term. But I've been involved in the building side of the space, so in various capacities in the last year and a half at Magnopus. I've been a design and project leader for I'll speak about World Expo 2020 Dubai, which is the largest metaverse experience on the planet to date. We have precise mapping of the XR content over 4 kilometers square, which is a very complex challenge, and the tech stack took years to build. Now I'm working with my team to make sure that it's easier so that others can build a platform that requires no code and that individual creators can and large brands can have their own metaverse slice. So Magnopus and our founders, Ben and Alex, come from an Academy Award-winning film studio background. They had a vision that's been inspired by content creation. So if you think of how when we were kids, the world being very like experience rich but information poor, today the world's become very experience poor but information rich. So we believe that the metaverse could unite the digital and the physical world and allow these great experiences to happen so that the world is connected and not divided. So if you think of making a digital copy of the world and figuring out how we, like with the metaverse, we're able to overcome these laws of physics and make up our own rules. So what if we could just capture and create many of the things that we want for free and allow people to trade them really easily and focus on designing it carefully so that it rewards collaboration and that people could have more context and bridge our differences. And I wanted to expand this to talk about Web 3.0 because for 6 years I've been leading a lot of global entrepreneurship communities. 2017, I graduated from Singularity University's Global Solution Program. So I've had this front row seat to just seeing entrepreneurs building the future of the internet and really this convergence of these various exponential technologies that are shaping the metaverse, such as blockchain, AI. So I think the infrastructure of blockchain and these decentralized autonomous organizations are just really allowing these early adopters to support each other's projects and further these good causes. So I'm just excited to see how technology has empowered us to be able to have as much of a positive impact in the world.
Wow, Aisha, it's like you're my colleague when I hear you talking with passion about what you're doing. Amazing. Yeah. So my journey started in Indonesia, where I was in the middle of an earthquake, seeing a lot of devastation. And once back in the Netherlands, I was saying I need to do something meaningful, useful. I want to use technology to build bridges and to create jobs and make education accessible. So I stumbled upon Second Life. And right away, when I saw Second Life in 2006, I said, this is the future. This is how internet will be evolving, but we are way ahead of our time with Second Life. So I started building a business, started building cities, doing fashion design. And 10 years later, we are building a virtual world called DESA. And DESA is all about creating social and economic impact by building easy to use tools in our virtual world that allows people just without no coding skill, just drag and drop your items, build your city, create your content, and make it easy to monetize your creation. It's far away from NFT, blockchain, and cryptocurrency. And we recently partnered up with some great names such as Ready Player Me. We're using their full body avatars in our world because I really believe if you want to have a lot of users and with my experience in IMVU as Second Life VR chat, you want to have full body avatars that creates emotional connection with a lot of cool cosmetic stuff on it. So what we want to do in the first phase is give content creators such as unknown musicians and artists access with a few clicks to the world economy. They can create their own gallery, they can create their own sales ticket. And for example, someone living in Venezuela, a land that has hyperinflation, can start his own concert and making like $100 per concert. If we just provide an ecosystem that evolves around the user. And that is what we are building right now, Desa. Desa is an Indonesian word, means village. And in Sanskrit, it means space. So it started in Indonesia, and we have a cool Indonesian name for this virtual world we were building. And the big difference is that this world is also accessible with your VR headset. Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right.
Awesome. Can you hear me, Eve? Is it your turn?
Yes.
Or me?
It's you, Debbie.
Let's go ahead, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, at Women in AI, we have dozens of programs running in the various countries and globally. And many of these programs we have run in the metaverse with Evenus. So programs like hackathons, innovation hubs, startup acceleration programs, talks and summits even. And I must say, every time I know I'm going to do something in the Evenus, in that metaverse, I really get excited and it's so exhilarating. Obviously, doing these programs face to face has tremendous benefits, and it's very personal. And being an international organization, we often have to include global participants. And if you look at the pandemic and the challenges that provided us, face to face is difficult, but we, as Women in AI, always need this more virtual space. And conference calls like Zoom helps, but boy, we are taking connections, education, and inspiration to the next level here at Women in AI. So you can still go together, get together face to face with your avatars, and you can live live stream your event in many more to many more in Zoom. So yeah, so that's us in a nutshell, what we do with Metaverse.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Okay, and now Eve.
All right. So very inspiring stories from Martin, Aisha, and Debbie and the application of extended reality. For me, the story started almost 15 years ago when Second Life just, appeared out of the blue. And I was really, really fascinated to try, did my due diligence as a young girl, tried to, set it all up. And then it was interesting. It was a bit slow, a bit not designed so nicely, but hey, back in the day, it was so awesome to have that at least. What happened there was that I bumped into a person, and I was a friendly soul, started making connections, asking how to figure this platform out, how to navigate and operate. And the person answered in the chat saying, sure, we'll help. The next thing I know, that ML avatar grabs my female avatar, puts me on the knees, and then you can imagine what happens. And apparently that was all possible in Second Life. With the feeling of being abused, harassed, taken advantage of, I stopped. It was 15 years ago. I stopped coming back to Second Life, and that was a missed opportunity for 15 years. Now, throughout my career in the field of innovation and growth, and always being working with advanced technologies from name it smart computing to autonomous driving, artificial intelligence applications, and so on and so forth, I got myself thinking that the world is moving in the new direction where everything is decentralized and remote-based. Pandemic showed us exactly what it means to be based remote and how to stay in the households, but still trying to figure out being connected to the world. So 3 years ago, I started coming back to the metaverse because I saw the future coming. It's a brilliant tool where people can hang out, but also not just, dance and listen to DJ spinning, but also conduct workshops, learning exercises, buy products, share knowledge, have fun in a gamified way. And also 3 years ago, I launched the program We Accelerate together with Women in AI as a member myself of Women in AI. And we started trying it in platforms like Spatial. It was Virbella, then we had some other platforms. And it showed during the pandemic that it was the most efficient tool, more efficient than Zoom, more friendlier than any other message sharing or video streaming platforms. Because you can feel that you are in person. You can really shake hands and kind of create this environment of belonging and respect. Now, what changed as well, going back to my story where I started, is that the industry started paying attention finally to the standards of cybersecurity, but also ethical standards, data privacy protection, child protection. Not every metaverse company follows the act for child protection. Won't be naming, but the biggest one. But there are every business who's trying to figure out, and we are all in it together as entrepreneurs, as individuals, because the future is not going anywhere. We just need to adjust, be flexible about the things and figure out how to use them. So this is my experience with extended reality, and Evenus is just having fun, organizing initiatives, events for people like you, and commercial projects for our clients. Woo-hoo. Shay, are you still here with us? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Shay, yes.
Hello? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
I can hear you. Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. Okay, so next question. This question is going to be directed towards Martin, Aisha, and you, Eve. What do you find to be the most challenging aspect in building a metaverse platform? Please share with us. And we'll start with you, Martin.
Oh, I didn't hear my name. All right. I think, well, building a world from scratch, it's and not using a third party, such as Hug Mozilla, for example, or Spatial, but building a world from scratch is already challenging when it's come down to personal, finance, software, open source, etc. But if you ask me, it's setting a dream team, like a dream dev team that not only have skills to program, but also can stand behind the vision, the big why. And it took us a year to have a great team, and it's still a challenge because we are talking about culture. We talk about we build this world from our vision, not because we are nerds and we have technical skills or coding skills. So building this world from our vision and finding the right people that can build this idea, that is the most challenging part.
I will also jump in. So
Aisha, can you please answer that same question?
yes. I think to add to that, I think that there's also just using beta technology. So when we were building the World Expo, we were, beta testing the Google Cloud Anchors to ensure that we had precision in the location of our, how our AR maps to the space. And so that is a very difficult feat to make sure that there really is this seamless bridge between the digital and the physical world on such a large scale. But I also think, going to what Eve was saying, keeping the people in mind that you're building for so that you don't run into situations that could be so negatively impactful to human beings. I think that mindsets of human-centered design could be very challenging to deploy in an industry that is just so nascent, where you might even forget to plan for that in advance. So I think it's important to not just be driven by the technology and think about how technology is serving a need, and making sure that it's always keeping people in the center of that, because obviously people really love shiny new things. And I would also say that, speaking of those shiny new things, that VR still has to reach its maturity, and it's important to not just get sucked into the hype that people are like, oh, it's all VR, 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 but we need to also be able to make sure that nobody's left behind. So making sure that our technology works seamlessly with mobile phones, augmented reality is already in people's hands. So I think it's about finding that balance as you're building and making sure that it's accessible to more people. I think that's really challenging. And then also just that mindset as you're building with a nascent industry, that we have to have a lot of comfort in failing, because there'll just be a lot of unknowns in this space. So it's just the mindsets of our team to make sure that we are having that comfort with ambiguity, knowing that we need to be able to understand these challenges and just dive into them and not wait for the industry to become more clear, the use cases to become more clear. We need to take that action, take those risks, and keep experimenting with different strategies and keep testing and just seeing we want to be able to help people tell their stories. What stories do they want to tell? We have to see what is really sticky. So that's another aspect. And then just going deeper on that to from a technology standpoint, when you're building something at this scale, you're always building from a systems standpoint. And from a user experience standpoint, we need to think in this spatial way. We need to make sure we're building from various contexts, various usages, in a 2D format, in a 3D format. So just keeping that usability for hybrid realities, for digital realities, for mobile and web it's a very fun and complex challenge. So we need to be able to always keep these aspects in mind and plan for the future and think in this systems-based way.
Thank you so much. And Eve, if you can answer that question for us.
Oh, I think I stepped on something. Let me relocate myself 1 second. I'm sorry. While moving my avatar, I will say that I absolutely agree with Aisha and the technology aspects of what was presented. I would like to add from my side that I see the challenge that is the same that the challenge we have in society. It's treating people with respect. And I don't know if you've seen or heard about our gallery Respect that showcases the inspiring stories of people of color across the history, through history and across the globe. But the social project like that is actually addressing the needs, the ultimate need that we have in the society. I think we forgot how to respect one another. When we take everything for granted, we claim somewhat privilege and allow ourselves to judge. This is, in my opinion, unacceptable. It not only creates biases and then we pass it through generations, it also just minimizes the whole experience and joy and friendly relationships. While we can all benefit from diversity of opinions and diversity of looks and backgrounds. So with projects like Gallery Respect, we see the need in the extended reality in the virtual worlds to rebuild our physical kind of dimension from scratch, make it digital, make it virtual, but have this opportunity to address the values, to speak about ethical behaviors and also ethical data usage. Because behind metaverse and spaces like this, there's a lot of algorithms and codes that can be checked for biases as well. So therefore, I think the challenge is not with technology. Technology will develop and will advance, but the challenge that we have is with human beings who have a chance now to come to the virtual environment and just, completely come as they are and as friendly as they can be and respectful as they should be. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all our panelists for answering that. You guys gave really insightful feedback on the challenges you guys are facing, and hopefully one day soon those challenges will be less and less. Now, my next question is directed towards you, Debbie. What are some of the challenges from a user perspective in the metaverse?
Yeah, good question. So I will start with my personal experience as a user, and as I said, the words that I keep on using to describe my experience is fun and exciting and exhilarating. Everything is new, it's creative, and in many times it's unexpected. So it would have maybe been a challenge to onboard and know how to navigate, but with Eve's patience with us, that was never an issue. She just made it fun for us always. And then in terms of getting the partners to join, that's the other hat that I'll wear is, getting them to participate and to sponsor our programs is what I need to do. And because the metaverse is such a relatively new concept, and because of maybe some misconceptions or varied expectations and the new technology with Web3 and the cryptocurrency and the NFTs being controversial in some sense, it takes a bit of convincing. So it's a human thing, actually. But once you show them an example, like the nice video that Eve showed in her invitation on LinkedIn, they become eager, and once they experience it, they're hooked. So definitely that's my experience. I can't mention too many challenges. To me, this is just we're in the baby shoes, and it will just get better from now on.
Thank
That's
you.
it.
Thank you for sharing your experience. Thank you. Next question. This question is going to be for all four panelists. How do you define success for your platform? And how was success reached? And Debbie, in your case, your virtual hub for women in AI. And I will pose the first question to Aisha, then Martin, then Debbie, then Eve.
Thank you. So I think success for our platform is really about the reach, the number of people that are able to easily tell their stories and have access to the metaverse, and not, as I mentioned, that it's not just, it's platform agnostic. And so I think it'll be successful if technology is not the reason, one particular technology is not allowing some people to be able to tell their stories, to experience this very rich world of content. So I think really it's about making it super easy so that people can quickly deploy their environments. And then also it's about that connection that people can make. In this world that we see today, there can be a lot of divisiveness with, AI actually, in many ways, technology can be driven to do bad, where people don't know about each other. And so success would also allow so that through the metaverse, through our platform, more people can learn about each other's worlds and quickly go from one world to another and engage in a way that is much more natural to the human being. And we hope that by creating those bridges that people can actually see more about what they have in common, because it's really hard to hide, it's hard to, it's easy to be a mean person on the internet when you don't really know who that person is and when you don't have that much context about them. But if people are, scanning their spaces and making more context relevant, and more about their stories, perhaps there could be more bridge between society. And I think that would be what would be successful, is for more creators to have access to that, and then also for bigger brands that want to be able to do that can also connect with people so that they can have these seamless bridges with each other. Who's next? Maybe I'll pass it over. Is Debbie going to answer this?
Okay, I can. I was waiting for Martin, but I can definitely. So what we want is the permanent availability of a virtual hub that's specifically for women in AI. That would signal success for me. We use the evenness metaverse often, but it is now time to have a permanent hub where our members and our partners can go and, just whenever they want to, and where our partners can have permanent spaces to showcase and to have discussions, and where we can meet almost like physical, in person, where we can network, organize and run our initiatives and interactively learn from one another. Our partners will say success is if they manage to have an X amount of numbers reach, but it must be the right people at the right time, which we must be able to measure and track the progress of that success. And then our members will say it's successful when the experience was great and not too clunky, not too slow and breaking up, and without gear, so that it's very accessible. So that's where we will see success going forward. Thank you.
Well, for us, for DESA worlds, what is success? If we can fulfill the promise, and what is the promise? That people can use our in-world tools to make a living, to be self-sufficient, and help their family, their sons and daughters with education in our virtual world. Make it easy, accessible, without paying a lot of money. So it's all about the happiness of our users. So that is what for us successful. What the meaning of success is in our virtual environment.
I love this spirit. Yay, let's make some noise. Thank you, Martin, for sharing. So with Evenus, we've been platform agnostic for the last 2 years, well, more, almost 3 years. And we've really enjoyed the experience of working with various platforms and organizing various initiatives and client projects on their platforms. And then we realized that we actually want to contribute on the deeper level and inspire the new generation to take a path in STEM, so join the STEM field, develop their skills, and really put a focus not on only professionals who have data science degrees or I don't know, machine learning experience, but those who actually need a chance in life, career shifters, refugees, immigrants, people with various superpowers. Some people call them disabilities, but I prefer calling that superpowers because we're all different. Veterans. So we thought that a virtual marketplace, learning marketplace for innovators, by innovators, would make a perfect sense, being part of communities like Women in AI, Women in Tech, Women in Extended Reality, and Out in Tech. I see a lot of inspiring minds, but they're all challenging to find that virtual hub where they can bring communities, socialize, peer-to-peer, learn from each other, and inspire other generations. For us, success would be to build it that is seamless, as performance is stable, graphics are amazing, and people are enjoying it. And whatever the algorithm is in the background, it just makes sense. Whatever is recommended to you in terms of your learning or your networking opportunities, it just literally centered around your passion, not advertising, We're in the seed rounds. We'll get some capital soon, and then we'll start building. So ask me this question again, but I'm hoping very much so to achieve the provisional success by the end of this year, so we can start launching in software, testing, and then organize a very big party in January. You're all invited, of course. Woo-hoo. And all the platforms here who build theirs, I'm so looking forward to integrate the metaverse.
Yes, Eve, I am so excited. I'm going to hold you to that. Thank you so much for sharing, all the panelists. Now, I have one last question for everyone. Last question to you. How do you see the interoperability of virtual platforms? Will we ever be able to create the ultimate metaverse as envisioned by American author Ernest Cline in his Ready Player One science fiction novel? And we're going to start with you, Debbie.
Okay. So, well, we heard about Accenture's investment in the keynote, and Microsoft bought Activation Blizzard for an unprecedented $68 billion. And this is the publisher of awesome games like Crash and Candy Crush and Call for Duty and Warcraft. Then there's the owner of WhatsApp and Instagram and Facebook, Meta. So you have the social media and the gaming industry going in opposite directions almost. So I think for many, many years, there will be multiple platforms and the experiences will be vastly different. What I would like to see is sort of an abstraction layer where there's a single platform for the personal profile, if I can call it that, where the persons can manage their avatars, accessories, their vaults with all their personal belongings that they bought in the metaverse, their wallets, and so on. So that they can use that across all the metaverses. And if that exists, please let me know. I don't know if that exists already. That's me.
Okay, thank you. Martin, I pose that same question to you.
Well, that's a cool question. We can talk for hours from out the user point of view and content creator point of view. But if I'm addicted to virtual world. When I'm playing Second Life, yes, I still play Second Life. I have my sandbox open, my Decentraland, my Uplands, and later I go to Allspace VR, to meet some friends and go to a club and dance. I spent, like, say, 5-6 hours per day in the virtual world, and after that I'm playing Euro Truck Simulator, and I'm sitting in a Volvo truck driving, from Spain to the Netherlands. And it would be cool from our user experience when I'm purchasing, for example, a new jersey or a new cap in Upland, that I can use my Linden dollars. So in each world, I have like a little bit currency scattered over the grid. So from our user point of view, we need to have one wallet that connects us. Because if we are going to use our Second Life avatar to go to a VR chat space, we don't own the avatar; it's owned by the companies. It's their intellectual property. So it's a big challenge. I believe in it. It's inevitable. And also from our content creator point of view, imagine having like hundreds of stores over the grid, with one wallet. Wow, that will make the administration very easy. So yeah, but I don't believe that for the next coming 10 years we can realize that. It will take a lot of time. It will take a lot of software and product integration and groundbreaking technologies, and and keep on building, talking, and designing. So I think it will take longer than 10 years before we have a meta galaxy and all the worlds are connecting with each other. It's also like a legal thing that needs to be taken care of. So yeah, but I believe in it.
Thank you. Thank you. And Aisha, same question to you.
Yes, so I agree that interoperability is really critical for there to be a real metaverse. And I don't think that we would have, that real metaverse unless that exists. We can have a digital twin, but I'd love to see there be a social digital twin where you also have the twinning of our social experiences as we operate in our worlds, where, as people mentioned, like you can, take your assets, take yourself from one place to the next place in a very seamless way. Today we have different projects that are operating on different platforms. And we have these different layers of the spatial web, which includes our content layers and infrastructure layers, but they don't necessarily communicate with each other. So I think that it needs to be able to mimic each other and hopefully make it really easy for that other projects to benefit from one project to benefit from another project or services and features. And that doesn't exist today. So I do think that the values and society are there in terms of how the book was envisioned with the Ready Player One, and that includes this trend towards collection rather than consumption, and celebrating people's individual talents. As we see today, brands are already trying to create this more natural celebration, and like that's where these gaming technology values are driving this and building off of this mindset that has already existed in our social media world, making it easier so that we can have that ability to like celebrate people's individual talents. Example of that with like Van's World in Roblox, and there are many more examples. So I do think it's great to see that people who might not have a social status in the real world can have some kind of elevation in their through their creativity. Maybe they're creating NFTs, but just really having an early adopter mindset, and we're celebrating creativity. So I see that already happening. What I hope is that in this view of how there was one oasis that owned this metaverse, I really hope that the metaverse is not focused on large companies or a large company owning the metaverse. I'd like to see that the future of the internet is about fostering collaboration and participation from everyone. And so we need to have these solutions that are celebrating and rewarding collaboration, not competition.
Okay, and we're going to follow up that question with you, Eve.
Right. Wow, that big question about the metaverse and the future. I would say the economy is changing. It's becoming more and more creators economy. We just need to add a few letters before that: fair and trustworthy. But that comes with standards and principles that we addressed earlier. And from the creator's perspective, we've got the tools already to become painters in the virtual environment, to mint your NFTs. Basically, you can produce that artwork and then you can claim ownership rights and sell it for a lot of money. It costs a lot nowadays, but that's your ultimate chance to become successful as a creator, because it's something different, it's completely unique and rich at the same time, which is a good case scenario, I believe. What I find a little bit confrontational is that there is a hype with NFTs or selling lands in various spaces, virtual spaces, that becomes, it reminds me more of dot-com crisis, to be honest. Like, we rush to make as much money as possible, sacrificing the long-term values while we are focusing on this or that functionality of technology. So with the metaverse, and it will come within 10 years, I heard Aisha and Martin giving a few numbers, so I agree with you. Like, probably the first draft for interconnectivity will be already accomplished next year, because you can simply teleport from this environment to another environment by putting a link to your image. You click on it and you go. You open a separate window. It's not the metaverse, but you kind of can start trying. In 10 years from now, we can probably be already ourselves in the environment without any headsets, the need for them, walking, buying, selling, inspiring. And what I see for the platforms in the interoperability phase, like we need to also understand how we do that. That is, that all contributes to this ultimate space with various functionalities that make sense for people who are using the platforms. The standards needs to be the same across various interconnected platforms and worlds, and the principles and functionalities, like if there is abuse or wrongdoing, that you can flag the behavior and kick people out, or you can welcome them, invite, and share joy. So I do see it coming, and I'm super, super fascinated about it. Goosebumps every day, and learning the use cases and stories, like the platforms and like examples of Martin, Aisha, and David's application. It just fills my heart with understanding that we really figured out something fun, and that makes provides not only fun, but makes sense in our work and learning. See my t-shirt? Metaverse.
I love it. Well, thank you, panelists. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You heard information firsthand from our 4 pioneering innovators and creators within the metaverse. I thank you all for being with us today. This has been a wonderful session, and now we are going into our question and answer segment. We have about 8 minutes left for this portion, and so I ask the audience, are there any questions you have for these amazing panelists?
Don't be shy. Remember
No questions?
I saw there was one.
I know. Don't be shy. I mean, I know you all are filled with curiosity, and I know you can't wait to talk to them because we do have our networking session coming up next. So one more time, if there's any more questions, now's the chance to ask them.
I think Kara was trying. I see Kara's avatar in the audience, and I think she was trying the keys 1, 2, 3. But you raised your hand. Let us hear your question, Kara. Gotcha. Of course, if you have any.
Oh, no.
While you're thinking of questions, oh, do I hear someone?
Yeah, Eve, that's me. So I said, oh, no. I didn't have a question. I like that one of the earlier speakers said, I'm very clumsy in trying all the keys and trying to figure out how it all works. So I apologize, but I really have thoroughly enjoyed this dialogue, and thank you all for your expertise. Let me just get the chance to say that because I'm learning every second. Thank you so much. I don't have a specific question. I'm drinking from the fire hose right now and really appreciate this learning opportunity tonight. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Kara, thank you for joining us. Thank you. Really happy to have you here with us today. Do I hear somebody else raising hand? You can raise your hand with the key 2, number 2. So it's like waving, or number 1, it's also hand, if you have a question. All right, well, you are thinking about your question because I know a lot of interesting points, information. I have a question to Shay. Shay, where are you? I see you. Okay, good. I'll come closer to you. So I would like to ask you the question, what do you actually personally think about the whole creation of metaverse, the metaverse, and a metaverse? Because we shared our points of view. What do you think is coming within the 10 years from now?
Well, I can tell you, before I learned about the metaverse years ago, I have been a futurist prior to that. I can tell you that. And I, for years, have been trends and That's important to me because I feel like in many societies, there are certain people that are ahead of the trends, and then there are others that are lacking in information about trends that affect us all. So fast forward, I learned about the metaverse, and I was a little apprehensive at first, Eve, because I did not know where we were going with it. What was the end result of the metaverse? And so I said, okay, as a futurist, I need to learn more about this. I need to figure out who's building, what is the goal of the builders in the metaverse. And so, as I said before, I speak with a lot of people. I work with a lot of people in the metaverse. And honestly, I'm excited because the intentions of so many creators and innovators are so positive, Eve. And this is what's making the metaverse, ladies and gentlemen. I want everybody to remember, if none of us partake in this virtual world, it is never going to happen. And so I sat back and I said to my husband, if we really push forward these good intentions, if we push forward these false divisions that we have in the real world and make sure they don't trickle over into this virtual world, this can be a world where people really do unite and people really do feel as though they have a voice. And so I feel as of right now, that's the direction we're going in, Eve. I genuinely do feel this. And I've heard this from people, who are developing in the big lands at the top, upland, and people in that sector, to people building smaller communities. So it really is about uniting everyone. And I love that. And for me personally, I hope that the metaverse will also be a place of peacefulness and zen, a place that you may not be able to find in the real world, but you can tap into that in the virtual world in some community or a gathering with your friends there. But as long as we have the mindset, the positive mindset behind what we build and what we do, I think it's a place that's going to be beautiful. Now, as Rovin said, as the development continues, I don't want to see huge corporations taking over communities and then it's just one big conglomerate and it's the same issues that we're facing in the real world. So I'm excited for events like this, and I'm excited to see people attend and learn from one another and really embrace the metaverse and understand that if we're quiet and we do nothing and involving the metaverse, others are going to do things that may not be beneficial for all of us, Eve. So, we have a responsibility now, if you are aware of this word metaverse, to learn more about it and see what you can do to learn about it, engage with others, and figure out if there's a problem that may exist, and we solve those problems before they happen in the metaverse. I think there's so many benefits as we solve these issues. I think it's going to be very beneficial for so many people. And I did not mean to be long-winded, but I'm extremely passionate about this topic. I'm sure many of you are out there, so I hope you guys hear my passion for this metaverse really coming together and we all benefiting, and we all just have a sense of release and happiness and joy when we are in there together. Woo!
Very good answer, Shay. I even made this little dance. Everyone, try clicking on 4,
Thanks.
5, 3. You have moves. We're preparing for networking. And before we start dancing, listening to music, and socializing, let's also give a round of applause to wonderful speakers. I'm not sure if Roland is still with us, but we'll send the applause via. So click on C. All right. Yes, thank you so much. Aisha, Martin, Debbie, Shay, Robin, everyone else who joined us today. Yeah, well, we can't wait to see you at the next event, which is on the 26th World IP Day, and it will be about creating the trustworthy and fair creators economy. And meanwhile, I just want to once again thank you for this opportunity to share with us your knowledge, the experts and speakers. And I hope I will, well, stick around, following you on social media and learning from you again and again and again. Success, everyone. Thank you. Oh, also to promote something fun, there are QR codes that you can scan and it takes you to the websites, but also there are 2 teleportation circles that they can take you to the Gallery Respect and Women in AI gallery that was around mitigating biases in the photography and image recognition. So, yeah. Enjoy. I'm gonna play some music. You can ask questions, socialize. I see you dancing. Fantastico. If you need to go, don't. Yeah, you have to go. Then you have to go. But otherwise, just enjoy it. Sharing is caring.
So if we leave, must we go through the lobby or can we just evaporate?